An explosion at an industrial park for chemical companies in Germany has killed at least one person and injured over 30. NTD's Joy Duguid has the story.
At least one person is dead after an explosion rocked an industrial park in the western German city of Leverkusen on Tuesday, sending dark plumes of smoke into the sky. The city of Leverkusen said that the explosion occurred in storage tanks for solvents at a waste management facility. Police said over 30 people were injured, 5 severely, 4 are still missing.
We have a long history as an industry site, and this is a tragic moment for Leverkusen.
The area was sealed off and surrounded by emergency vehicles. Nearby roads, including motorways, were closed. Germany's Civil Protection Agency initially warned citizens of extreme danger. Later on Tuesday, however, the Cologne Fire Department tweeted that measurements of the air's pollution do not show any kind of abnormality.
The situation at the moment poses no acute danger, but the situation still poses some danger, and we are doing everything we can to halt any danger.
Police told residents living nearby to stay indoors and shut doors and windows in case there were toxic fumes.
Now it is important to take maximum care, to be careful, take precautions. We are closing playgrounds. Fruit from the garden should be washed before being eaten.
He said residents should report anything that's not normal. Joy Duguid, NTD News.
The Cuban embassy in Paris said that its building had been attacked with petrol bombs, causing serious damage but no injuries to diplomatic staff. It did not say who it thought was responsible. The Cuban Foreign Ministry said 3 bombs were thrown, with 2 hitting the embassy and starting a fire. It said diplomats extinguished the blaze as French firefighters arrived at the scene. In a tweet, the Cuban Foreign Minister blamed the US government for the attack. Cuba has been rocked by protests calling for greater freedoms and an end to the communist dictatorship amid a worsening economic crisis in the country. The foreign ministers of 21 countries on Monday condemned mass arrests and called for a full restoration of internet access in Cuba. And in other news, the world's oldest wine cooperative in Germany is struggling to recover from the record floods. Many members lost both their homes and their livelihoods. NTD's Rhodes has more on this.
As Western Germany recovers from this month's deadly floods, a historic German wine cooperative is picking up the pieces. The Maischoss Altenhaar Wine Cooperative south of Bonn was founded more than 150 years ago and is believed to be the oldest such organisation in the world. The floodwaters left its cellars and facilities submerged in water and mud. The management assistant says they don't have a clear idea about the full scale of the damage.
The barrels that were still in the cellar, where there was actually wine in them, are probably no longer usable. We're now trying to save what can be saved. It affects our very substance, that's for sure.
Now staff are trying to salvage whatever they can from the damaged barrels and bottles strewn around the complex. The cooperative has about 200 members who are wine growers and winemakers. Many of them are personally affected.
It is definitely a threat to people's livelihoods, and of course it is dramatic, because they basically have lost their homes and their livelihoods on top of it. So yes, it's devastating.
The village of Maischoss itself was cut off by the floods until a few days ago and could only be supplied by air.
For over a week now, our customers could not reach us, so we want to make sure for next week that we can be reliably contacted again by our customers.
Usually at this time of year, wine growers would be doing important foliage work in the vineyards in preparation for this year's harvest. But members are busy recovering from the floods. And she says they have no idea where their wine will be processed, but she's positive they will find a solution. Earl Rhodes, NTD News.
A small marine drone tasked with collecting floating trash on the water in French ports is making a splash by easing the workload for local cleanup crews. NTD's Anna Rodriguez brings us the details.
This small yellow marine drone is weaving around the port of Cassis in southern France. It's called a Jellyfish bot, a robotic sea cleaning boat. and is only the size of a suitcase. The mastermind behind the design is a PhD holder in underwater robotics and the CEO of a company called Iadis.
In order to access those places where almost all the trash is concentrated, we designed this robot to be as compact as possible. It measures 70 centimeters in length, 70 centimeters wide, and it can go everywhere.
In 2019, the World Wildlife Fund reported that over 600,000 tons of plastic end up in the Mediterranean Sea every year. The jellyfish bot sucks up plastic bags, discarded drinks bottles, and even uses surgical masks into the net at the back of his hulls. It can reach tight spaces that are inaccessible to cleaners with nets.
It's easier for the port's cleaners because they have less material handling to do. They have fewer physical constraints, and especially they don't have to walk around the waters as much.
The jellyfish bot has been adopted in several countries but isn't the only device of its kind. Similar technology has been developed in San Diego and the Netherlands. Ana Rodriguez, NTD News.
Romania is often admired for its unspoiled landscape, but many of its historical buildings are falling into disrepair. A local initiative backed by the Prince of Wales is racing against time to restore them. NTD's Joanne Robson has this story.
Set in a broad valley in Romania, this 16th century castle is on the edge of ruin. It's one of several hundred endangered monuments in the country. Now an architect has pledged to rescue them. He started a non-governmental organisation called Ambulance for Monuments.
Probably in a few years it would go to a ruin. And a ruin you cannot build again, you cannot rebuild it actually, because heritage is not renewable.
Once home to nobles and an elementary school, this castle has been neglected for decades. Its expansive but leaking roof is in the middle of a month-long revamp. At the core of the project are its volunteers, mostly aged 25 to 35. Some are students studying heritage-related fields like architecture, archaeology, engineering and history.
This is my first experience with the Ambulance of Monuments, but the community is amazing, and the way they all just mobilized around the building and they just all jump in to come and help, even for a few hours. I think that's very important.
The town hall supplied materials while locals arranged accommodation and food for the volunteers. The project's first and biggest supporter is the UK's Prince Charles. His Prince of Wales Foundation owns a number of old properties in Romania.
He's supported financially, he's doing a lot of lobby, and he just waits to see all the pictures we are sending and that young people from Romania are involved. And also that we are recovering intangible heritage because we are using local craftsmen, local materials. We are trying to preserve also nature around the building, and I think this is what he likes most of this project.
Founded in 2016, the Ambulance project has saved 55 historical structures from ruin, including World Heritage Sites. Joanne Robson, NTD News.
That's the news for today, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Stuart Lees. Thank you for watching our daily news show on YouTube. You can also watch our other programming on channel 190 on Sky TV or on Freeview via channel box on channel 271. In the meantime though, please give this video a like and hit subscribe to our channel. Have a good day.